Ah, Halloween. A holiday which absolutely no one celebrates here because in England, come October time, it's too cold and everybody is too lazy to dress up. Still, that's never stopped me from embracing the spookiest holiday of the year as one of my personal favourites. In the past, dressing up in costumes such as lead singer of obscure horror band I like, and go. I mean, was the channel art not a big enough hint that I love this holiday? To be honest, it is kinda weird that I love Halloween so much because I hate being scared, which segues beautifully onto talking about horror games. Or at least it would have if I didn't make the segue so obvious. Me and horror games have kind of an iffy relationship. I'm always there to have fun, but all they want to do is scare the crap out of me. So really it isn't much of a surprise that I don't own all that many horror games. In fact, one could even say that I just ran out of footage to use for this intro. Because I did. This is gonna be a long intro. So I was left with a problem as I wanted to review something vaguely spooky for Halloween, but also something that wasn't so spooky that I'd hit the escape key about 5 milliseconds into it. In the end, I decided to do the totally original thing and talk about Lucius, a game that— I left the mouse cursor on screen. Go on when you're ready. There we go. A game that has definitely never been talked about on YouTube before. In Lucius, you play as Lucius, a small kid with quite possibly the most terrifying face ever modelled by mankind. You are this guy's son, Lucifer. As you might have guessed from the horns and the name, he also has a terrifying face. And basically, Lucifer gives you people in your family to kill so that you can steal your non-Lucifer father's wealth and power and use it to do evil things, I guess. Now you might be wondering what this poor innocent family did to deserve all this, but quite frankly I think they were just asking for their son to become possessed by the devil. 6 plus 6 plus 6. Room 666. What could all these numbers possibly mean? I mean, the connotations are just so subtle. I mean, the 6th for the 6th, 1966, what could it possibly mean? Wait a minute, that's 4 6s. They also deserve it because they are all gosh dang idiots. Like, you have 6 people die in your house in the span of 4 months, and you don't find it just a little bit odd? Maybe leave the house for a bit? Luckily MacGuffin, yes that's really his name, is on the case, a police officer who seems to just not do anything helpful at all. When you first start playing Lucius, or when you're just checking out gameplay footage, it kinda gives off a Hitman vibe in that you go around and try to kill people without anyone else noticing. But it isn't long before you realise that Lucius isn't so much Hitman as it is a point and click adventure game. Just minus the pointing and clicking. So a game. Wait, no. So you can try to kill people however you want, but in the end there is only one specific way that the game will let you do so, even though you can think of other ways that the puzzle might be solved. This leads to a lot of frustration when you just can't figure out what you're supposed to be doing, just because you're not following the murder exactly to the script. There's one mission where you need to get someone to slip up on the icy ground outside, so you need to grab some water. The notebook makes it very clear that you need to be inconspicuous, so what could be more subtle than a frickin' drinking glass? Well, that's what I thought, but apparently I'm a retard, because this beverage receptacle is unsuitable for the task at hand, and I was instead supposed to know that the correct receptacle was actually in my bedroom on the toy shelf the entire time. Because why wouldn't it be? Oh yeah, you did it, champ. Further adding to this frustration is that it is very difficult to tell what you can pick up and interact with and what you can't. Mostly because the game is in third person in really tight corridors, so about 50% of the time Lucius's big fat head is in the way, and the other 50% is spent trying to avoid looking at his face. It also really doesn't help that you can pick up items that you won't need for like another 10 levels or so it just sits there in your inventory confusing you. Like, there's a level where it's pretty clear you need to poison this woman, but the poison I had on me was actually the wrong one, and the poison I needed was the rat poison on the other side of the mansion. And I know that this sounds pretty annoying, because it is, but don't think that this game isn't fun to play. Far from it. It is pretty frustrating, but if you stick with it, or give in and look up a walkthrough, it actually becomes a pretty interesting puzzle game, which I wasn't expecting given the subject matter. Oh yeah, it's also really goddamn edgy, like, It's not all murder and edginess though, because in the end you're still a kid and have to do chores. Yay? Stuff like putting your toys away, taking out the trash, you know, standard stuff that isn't really all that interesting or fun, but if you're a good enough boy, your mother gives you presents. Like a Ouija board. Alright, well fuck you too, mum. The items your mum gives you all help you kill people, which well, let's just say Mum of the Year award will definitely not be going to her. The Ouija board gives you hints so obvious it might as well tell you exactly what to do. The music box highlights items you you need around the mansion, which are almost always inevitably on the other side of the map, so it's almost always useless, and the bike, which is not only helpful for glitching out of the map, but is also very good at getting Lucius one step closer to ripping off the Omen, just in case the creepy ass devil child, the massive ass manor, and just the everything in this game wasn't enough already. And no, you can't ram people off balconies in this game. Trust me, I tried.
Don't do drugs.
As for other things to mix up killing people, Lucius gets some special powers to play about with. You can lift stuff with your mind, break stuff with your mind, cast fire from your hands, and control people's minds. They're pretty cool, but like everything else in this game, you can only use it when the game lets you, which isn't all that often in the case of some powers, and I really feel like more could have been done with them. The moving ability is pretty fun to mess around with though. They also all have skill levels which increase with every level you complete, which really makes the spell system look more complicated than it actually is. All it really does is stop you from interacting with stuff that you need in later levels, so after a while I just forgot it was even a thing. And don't forget the boss battles. Actually no wait, they suck. Actually, might want to forget the last two levels as well. They kinda suck too. Oh no, the statue moved slightly. Better shoot it with my gun. Woo, America! As for presentation, if I had to use two words to describe this game, it would be dark and gloomy, which is unfortunate for you guys watching, because I find that those two things always record like utter bollocks when I make videos. It's hard to describe, but it's like the game has this weird colour correction filter over it, which, well, doesn't so much correct colour as it does remove it. A lot of the colours seem to bleed into each other, and why does everything have to bloom? This made stress. Lucius's forehead, this lamp that is turned off in the middle of the night, like what? And you can't turn it off, or even lower it. Trust me, I tried. Not even turning the game to the lowest will save you from the blooming bloom. Apart from that though, the game does look pretty damn nice, even if the animations are a bit janky. I like how the look of the mansion changes at different times of the year. It's such an obvious thing to point out, but it's super charming, though I'm not really sure I ever got a 1970s feel from the mansion as a whole, which is when the game takes place. I mean, just look at the way Lucius is dressed. It's the decade of Vietnam, the monster truck, and England changing to the decimal system for currency. In a time as exciting as this, and you're dressing up poor Lucy here like he's getting ready to head into a bunker to hide from a bloody Nazi bombing raid. They do have VCRs though, like Pussy Hunters. Just gonna put that in there for later. The music is also pretty good. It sounds suitably demonic and creepy, though you will listen to the same songs over and over again. There's only so many times you can listen to the same bloody violin piece before it... Hang on, guys. Yeah, that's another thing. The music is way too loud and it overpowers the voice acting frequently in cutscenes. And speaking of the cutscenes and story, it's pretty well written, apart from, you know, how everyone is frickin' stupid. The voice acting can be a bit iffy sometimes though. Like for some characters the voices are really well done, but then for others it just sounds off. It's like when you watch someone talking It's like when you watch someone talking in a video, but it's really obvious that It's like when you watch someone talking in a video, but it's really obvious that there's a voiceover. Something about it seems off, but you just can't figure out what. So how could they improve Lucius then? Well, there's a lot really. The game as it stands right now is fun, but it is also incredibly frustrating due to how there's only one way you can do every mission. Had they included even just one alternate route for every mission, it would have made it much less annoying and essentially doubled the gameplay time you could get out of it as you go back to redo these other routes. Honestly, there isn't much point in replaying the game once you've finished it, so God knows why they thought putting in an achievement to play the game for 40 hours was a good idea when I finished it in 6. Now there was a sequel, which on a scale of being not good to good apparently wasn't. They tried to get rid of the frustration of the first game by just opening up how you can kill people completely, so you can do whatever the hell you want. Now to me this sounds like it would make it less frustrating, but apparently it wasn't pulled off all that well. But I don't own the game, so I should probably shut up right about now. Lucius then is a pretty good game. If you go in expecting something like an old school point and click adventure game, then you'll find a charming, edgy little game which, while it isn't anything special, there really isn't anything like it out there. Well, you know, apart from the Omen.